Well, hello there, my SLP mateys, and welcome to the Kokolingo webinar from Therapro. I'm Pirate Lucky, the upbeat instructional host of the Kokolingo app, and as the parent myself of a child with related special needs, I can testify as to the effectiveness of learning tools that both entertain, even as they challenge kids to listen, to practice, and most importantly, to want to return to re-engage and continue progressing on the learning curve, or with Kokolingo, the learning cruise. Now, your expert host today, Amy Atkins Yacoub, is the SLP Pro who actually helped develop and adapt the very successful Kokolingo app for the US. And she not only helped yours truly with many of those instructional techniques, I had her working with some grizzled veteran members of my ship's crew. Now, admittedly, many of them still curse quite a bit. Arr! But their diction and pronunciation is now superb. So trust me, I think you're really going to enjoy learning here what an upbeat, positive difference and learning tool Kokolingo can be.
And with that, I'm going to pass it on to today's speaker, Amy.
Thank you, Allison. I am going to share my screen now, and I have a presentation here about Kokolingo. So like we heard, that was Pirate Lucky, and he is featured throughout Kokolingo. And if you've used Kokolingo, you will see that he just truly makes the program so fun for kids, and we're looking forward to today just showing you everything that Kokolingo has to offer. So today we'll be talking about Kokolingo, a digital platform for speech sound therapy. And we'll be discussing elevating articulation using Kokolingo for effective speech therapy sessions. A little bit more about me. My name is Amy Yacoub, and like Pirate Lucky mentioned, I'm a pediatric speech-language pathologist. I have about 12 years of experience in the field, and that includes a variety of settings. So both inpatient and outpatient hospital settings. I've worked in early intervention, private practice, also frequently still provide therapy over teletherapy. In addition to that, I am the Kokolingo Partner Network Manager. So like we heard in the video, Kokolingo has been featured in several different languages around the world. So with that success, it was then developed here in the United States. So I did help as part of the team to develop the US version. Disclosure for today, professional disclosure, I am not an employee of Therapro. And a financial disclosure, I did receive compensation for developing and presenting this webinar today. And Kokolingo is a product that is sold through Therapro. Here's what we're hoping to accomplish in today's webinar. So you will gain a comprehensive understanding of the key features and functionality of Kokolingo, which can be used for articulation therapy. You'll also learn effective strategies for integrating Kokolingo in school settings, enhance knowledge and skills in utilizing technology to engage and motivate students during their articulation therapy sessions. You'll develop proficiency in customizing articulation therapy activities and the exercises that are involved in Kokolingo in order to meet the needs of individual clients or students. And finally, you will acquire some practical tips and techniques for monitoring student or client progress during the data and analytics features that are provided by Kokolingo. So let's get right into it. So Kokolingo is a digital platform for articulation therapy. So it is not an app. And the benefit of that is that it means that Kokolingo is actually a website. And that means it can be accessed through any computer, laptop, or tablet, and no downloads are necessary. You can just access Kokolingo directly through your web browser. And it can be used both in-person speech therapy sessions. It can be used during teletherapy sessions. You can use your screen sharing feature. It can be used by parents during at-home practice, or if you are a therapist that's going to a client's home or school, then you can bring some type of tablet or computer and they can access Kokolingo there. And in the schools, you can also use Kokolingo for RTI, response to intervention, to probe the need for direct speech therapy sessions, or of course, to actually conduct in-person speech therapy sessions in the schools. And that's kind of what we'll be focusing on today. There are several benefits of using Kokolingo. It's really a great software that we can use with our clients who are struggling with articulation. Some of the benefits include that, it's using that gamification, which is so motivating for most of our clients. Again, very motivating, not just because it involves games and activities, but there are several different fun features of Kokolingo. You see Pirate Lucky, who was coached by a speech-language pathologist, and he provides a lot of video modeling during the game. You'll also see that we have a parrot named Coco that will pop up, and he will provide some encouragement throughout the game to encourage the student to continue playing and continue practicing. It's very engaging and interactive. So there are several different games and featuring several different speech sounds so that the client isn't practicing, using the same game over and over. There's a very wide variety of activities, and it's very efficient. So Kokolingo can really effectively improve a client's articulation skills. Here are some of the key features of Kokolingo. So it's, like I mentioned, very interactive and very hands-on. There's, like I mentioned, a very wide variety of activities there. So we have an example over here on the right. This is the funny words where we're practicing a sound within a consonant vowel combination. And every time that the client produces the sound, then the penguin will get a little bit closer to climbing up to the top of the iceberg, eventually reaching the snowman. And like I mentioned earlier, the child can play Kokolingo games through remote access during screen sharing and teletherapy sessions. So I think, as a therapist that provides teletherapy, it's always just so great to have another activity or set of activities in your toolbox that you can bring up during your articulation therapy sessions over teletherapy. There's also a lot of ways that we can customize Kokolingo according to the client that we're working with. So when you're in Kokolingo, you will create an individual file for each student. And then within that file, you can jot down some notes session by session. We'll focus on this a little bit later, but you'll be able to see their data in the data and analytics features. You can see which sound was practiced during your last session, and so on. So really able to use the same program, but save each individual student's progress. And we can use Kokolingo to target a variety of speech sounds in isolation all the way up to connected speech and in a variety of word positions. And so that data and analytics feature, we can use that to track each individual client's progress as they play Kokolingo. We can also use it to view their data and performance in sessions and also during home practice. So that can really increase that communication between the therapist and the parents at home, because we can see kind of what's going on at home if the client or the student is practicing at home and what their performance is. And then they're going to be able to see, the parents will be able to see what the child is doing during speech therapy sessions. Here is a few more examples of some of the activities in Kokolingo. So we saw this iceberg one on the previous slide, and here's another one here. So again, we're practicing producing a sound in a consonant, different types of consonant vowel combination sequences. So we have the penguin on the right, and then we also have on the left a similar activity where when the student produces the target word or sound, then the mouse will get a little bit closer to climbing to the top. We also have some hide and seek games. So here we're practicing the target sound F or in consonant vowel syllables. So what we see here is that the client would match the two corresponding syllables. And when they do that, they'll be able to reveal another piece of the puzzle. Similar here in the middle, they're going to match the initial F consonants here, the different consonant vowel syllables. And when they do that, they will reveal a piece of the flamingo puzzle. So this is what kind of it will look like for the student once they match those two symbols. They'll see a pop-up and they'll have the audio that's going to read these two sounds. And they're going to attempt their own production of the sound. And then it's going to ask the student how they thought the pronunciation sounded. So this is where we're going to rate their production of the target sound as accurate or inaccurate. But we like to give a lot of positive reinforcement. So instead of inaccurate, we're giving a rating of good for a yellow star. Accurate would be the rating of great with a green star. And you can either rate the student, the therapist can rate the student or the parent. Or if you're working on some self-monitoring skills, you can kind of turn that around to the student. And you can ask them, how did you think that sound sounded? Or do you want to try it again? If they do want to hear the sound, then they have the option of pressing listen again. Here's another activity that we have in Kokolingo. So here we are working on the initial F sound. And this is just a simple flashcard activity. So you're just gonna see the flashcards with the images pop up, and the client will attempt the target word, and then you or the student will rate their production as accurate or inaccurate. And you can see over here on the upper left that they're earning gems. So with each activity and within the activities, the client or the student is earning these gems. And as they earn the gems, they will be able to later spend the gems in the Coco store. So that is where we have Coco the parrot, which we saw in Pirate Lucky's intro video. And the student can use their coins or gems to purchase fun accessories for Coco the parrot, like different hats or clothes or similar things like that. So that's definitely motivating for them to continue practicing to earn those gems. Here's another activity that we have. So again, you could practice this activity with the F sound, or you might be using this activity with one of our many other sounds. We also have blends, so R blends and L blends. And basically what the student would do here is find the words. So you're going to encourage the student to click on the leaf, and then it's going to reveal a target word. So like you all may be thinking too that we can really use Kokolingo to target several other goals during our therapy sessions, not just articulation. So because so many of our students are motivated by online games, we could use this for phonological awareness, even just some early language skills, like just, imitating short syllables. You could use it for some clients that may have apraxia or phonological disorders. For comprehension or receptive language, you could use these activities for following some simple directions, or, maybe for the leaf activity, you might be working on a skill like having the client express prepositions so they can talk about how the word was under the leaf. So lots of different ways that we can use the activities that are included here in Kokolingo. We also have a memory game. So this is just such a classic online activity that many clients of various ages can interact with. So you could probably use this, from age 3 all the way up through school age kids. So just like the classic memory game, you are going to have these students select 2 of the pictures here, and then they will reveal the target words underneath. So if they do find a match, then you'll see that pop up, and the client will be encouraged to say the words, which I really love because I find that some other memory games online or activities that I've found don't have that pop-up that kind of stops the student and has them attempt the words before they can progress through the games. So sometimes the client might be engaging in a game like this, but before you can kind of intervene, they may be just continuing to play the game. So it really, Kokolingo involves the games, but students are very aware that they are working on their speech skills, and we have those pop-ups so that they have a chance to kind of pause, practice their speech sounds or words, rate their productions, and then continue with the games. So as we're progressing through the islands in Kokolingo, you'll also see some activities that target words at a higher level. So, we can practice these sounds in isolation. We saw some activities for the syllable level, word level, and then here, when you get to activities like spin the wheel or fill in the blank, the student can practice their speech sounds at the sentence level. So you can play spin the wheel, where you see here that you'll have a sentence down at the bottom. So kind of a carrier phrase in many of these activities. So this one here would be, have you seen my? And then the student would spin the wheel, and their target word would change depending on where the wheel lands. So for this one, I think it looks like it is maybe the initial T sound. So you would, if you land on trophy, the student would complete the phrase, have you seen my trophy? Or have you seen my telephone? So they're practicing their sounds within the same phrase. And then over here, again, you can see that the student will be prompted to say the target word within a connected speech sample within a sentence. Another activity here of a Kokolingo activity where we are practicing sounds within sentences. So this would be fill in the blank. And again, you can see how this could be used for a variety of goals to target in speech therapy. So you'd have the student, or you would read the sentence. So here, the police caught a, and then they would fill in the blank. So do we want it to be the police caught a thief, the police caught a lifeguard, or the police caught a firefighter? So we're practicing that the F sound here. So we would, have the student select which picture they felt would best complete the sentence, and then rate their production. And then we can even further progress the client skills by practicing a sound like the F sound within connected speech. So this, I do find that as a speech therapist, can be a little bit more challenging sometimes to find activities that do target something like this, targeting articulation at a conversational level or within connected speech. So that's what the student is able to practice here in an activity like story time. So again, we are practicing the F sound. So this is a story about a fancy fish. And when the student clicks on the sentence strips too, they will hear an audio of a recording that's reading the sentences. So if they're having some trouble reading, that's certainly fine. You, the therapist, can either read those sentences, or they can click on the sentence strips and hear the audio. So it was the farmer's wife's birthday. She wished for a beautiful fish. The farmer went fishing to get one. So you can practice this, just one sentence at a time, or you could ask the student to, repeat all 3 sentences to tell the story back to you. And again, this could be used not only for articulation, but you could really use this story time activity to work on story retelling, auditory recall at various stages. So you could read one sentence and practice auditory recall at just the one sentence level, or auditory recall for multiple units or multiple sentences. You could also ask the student some comprehension questions, and it's great that they have the visuals here. So if your comprehension question was, what did the farmer's wife wish for, then they can kind of look at these visual cues to see that the answer there would be fish. And again, you can see that as the student is playing the game or engaging in the story, that they are earning the gems up here that they're going to be able to use to spend at the Coco store. So this is the Coco store over here on the right, where the student will be able to spend the gems that they've earned to dress up the parrot named Coco. And Coco is going to pop up throughout the games and activities. So something that the client really comes to know and becomes motivated by. So lots of fun features here in Kokolingo that are just going to encourage kids to stay motivated, to work on their articulation. Making articulation fun can be a challenge sometimes depending on the student's age level. So I think Kokolingo does a great job of incorporating all these fun elements. And on the left here, you can see kind of the home page for the student within Kokolingo. So you would have the client's name listed up here on the upper left, and then you would see which sound they're working on. So there is an option over in the settings to select the sound. And then once you're on a sound, then the student would basically progress through each of these islands, which have the sound activities in isolation, syllables, words, up to sentences and conversational speech. So there's kind of progressing at the islands. You do not have to start at island number 1. So if you're starting to use Kokolingo and the client is already kind of at the word level, you can progress straight to level 3. You can go back to level 2 at some point. So you can definitely, go out of order, but they are organized in that hierarchical order according to how we typically develop or work on articulation. So how can we integrate Kokolingo into school settings? Well, I first want to talk about the benefits of using this program within an educational environment. So obviously it's very engaging, it's colorful, it's interactive. So the platform really makes just learning and practicing speech sounds just fun. So these gamified elements are incorporated to make the therapy sessions enjoyable and motivating experiences. So it's all about just kind of keeping that motivation going and engaging the student. You can also customize the different features within Kokolingo to meet the needs of an individual client. So therapists, teachers, other educators, caregivers, we can all learn to customize the different activities within Kokolingo that's based on the individual student's articulation needs. So, we're going to choose certain speech sounds. It's very user-friendly, so very easy for anyone besides a speech therapist to also use the program. So it's just a great one-stop resource that you can direct your families to and your teachers and other support professionals at school that they can use to just easily target a variety of sounds in different word positions and at different levels. So again, we're just tailoring these exercises to really meet the needs of the individual client. Additional benefits, so Kokolingo can seamlessly integrate into an educational curriculum. It's really a valuable resource for speech pathologists and educators within the school. And SLPs can collaborate with teachers to align the articulation therapy with classroom objectives. So we can collaborate with teachers to see, what are some certain maybe units that the teacher is focusing on at this time, and are there certain speech sounds that match that curriculum that would be helpful for the student to practice. We can incorporate those speech sounds if so. And very time efficient. So when we're using Kokolingo, we are using just these set of streamlined activities. I think as busy SLPs, a lot of times it's just all about saving time with prepping materials, and our time is so valuable. And I know especially in the school setting, it can be a challenge to find the time to prep materials prior to sessions. And oftentimes in the schools, therapy is conducted within groups, and you may be kind of trying to target different goals with different clients during the same session. So with Kokolingo, you can easily switch between different clients or different students' files, and switch speech sounds very easily to target each student's needs. There's also the data logging and progress monitoring features. So those really just make documentation a breeze. Again, it's all about time-saving materials and resources when you're a busy SLP. So Kokolingo will log the student's progress and their data within each session. And then you can also compare their data over time. So whether you are using the data at the end of a session to write a note, a treatment note, or maybe as a periodic progress report or reevaluation, you can use the data logging feature to look at that client's performance over time, and that can just really simplify the documentation process. Some other benefits of using Kokolingo in the schools, there is that data-driven progress monitoring. So the SLPs can just look towards this to monitor the student's progress over time. And this can really help with supporting informed decision-making as part of effective and targeted interventions. So when it comes time for that IEP review, we can look at some of the data that's found in the student's file in Kokolingo to see, over time, has their articulation been improving? And does this seem to be an effective treatment approach, or do we need to modify any of our goals? So just an easy kind of snapshot of that information. And Kokolingo also helps with creating individualized therapy plans. So SLPs can create individualized learning paths for each student based on their speech goals. And a personalized approach can be used even within a group setting. So like I mentioned, if you're taking 4 kids into a room to do a group therapy session, but one is, targeting S, one you're working on L, and 2 you're working on R blends, you can use Kokolingo to play some really fun activities during that session on a laptop or tablet, and you can easily switch between those speech sounds and goals just within that session. It's very accessible. So like I mentioned, you can access Kokolingo on really any technological platform. So it can be Apple or Android. It could be a phone, if the parents want to practice on that at home. It could be on a tablet or a computer. So you can access the activities anywhere and anytime. And that just really allows for the ease of using the program across different educational settings. So, whether you're taking the student into your speech room to provide therapy, or if you're able to bring in a tablet or a laptop during your push-in sessions in the classroom, you can introduce Kokolingo either way. It can be used as homework to promote carryover and increase practice. So it's very easy to give us homework, and there is a feature in Kokolingo that you can, once you're in a student's file, you can select an invite where you will send an invitation to the parent at home and invite them to practice. So if they just follow that link and go into Kokolingo, they're going to be able to see exactly what the student is practicing at school with you or during sessions with you, and they can just continue to practice that at home very easily. And it does facilitate that communication with parents and caregivers. So again, as busy speech pathologists, it can be hard to communicate consistently with families and caregivers. But by using Kokolingo, you can make some notes within the student's file that the parent can see, and vice versa. They can see the progress that the student has been making or see what goals the student is working on, and then they can just feel like they are a little bit more in the know about what's going on in speech therapy sessions. So, we definitely want to promote that collaboration between therapists and educators and parents. It all really, we work together to support the student's speech development. And as we know, coming to therapy just once or twice a week for 30 minutes or an hour just isn't typically enough. We really need everybody to be on board practicing. So Kokolingo kind of helps bring together all of these different people within a child's life so we can effectively help them improve their articulation. And Kokolingo is cost effective. So we do have special pricing available for institutions, and we also have school subscriptions available, and that includes access for several users. So if you are representing a school or a district or an institution and have several SLPs under you, then you can contact us for some special pricing that we have for some subscriptions. And there are no accompanying materials required. So really all you need is any platform, any technological platform that you have. So tablet, desktop, laptop, anything like that, and you're good to go, and you can start accessing Kokolingo. We do have a quote here from one of our users, speech pathologist in the elementary school setting, who says that my students really enjoy the videos on how to say the different sounds from the pirate. The videos are engaging for the students and they love watching them. So Pirate Lucky pops up throughout the activities, and there's an option to watch a video of him for each speech sound, and he will instruct the student exactly on how to make the sound. Now, if you're in a speech therapy session, it's still something really fun because the students may be even just a little bit more engaged when they're watching Pirate Lucky, giving them instructions on how to move the muscles in their mouth, how to place them, different examples of words or silly tongue twisters or rhymes that contain the sound. So just a little bit more captivating for the child's attention. So when you are implementing Kokolingo in the schools, there are some strategies to kind of keep in mind. You want to set the student up for success and set yourself up for success during sessions. Prepare the client and the parent before you use Kokolingo, and use the engaging activities. So we'll go into these a little bit more in depth. So number one, set up for success. You want to have just that quiet, work-friendly environment available for the student. Check your technology ahead of time. So of course we know we need to do that when we're engaging in teletherapy sessions, to make sure that our screen sharing feature is working correctly, our audio is working, that we have the website for Kokolingo pulled up ahead of time. And similarly, if you're using Kokolingo during your in-person sessions, make sure everything is charged and you're able to access the Wi-Fi, because there is no downloads are needed. So you just want to access Kokolingo through the website. If you have any materials that you're using with Kokolingo, none are necessary, but you might have something to go with the activity. And so if so, you want to make sure those are handy. And you also just want to be prepared and aware of the students' speech goals, speech or language goals. So you could ahead of time log into Kokolingo, create a file for the student, and look at which speech sound or sounds you want to target during the session. and then in, which island you want to practice with them that day. So do you want to practice the sound in isolation or in the medial position of single words? So you'll kind of just be aware of your game plan before you start the activities. You do want to prepare the student. So if you're going to introduce Kokolingo, just kind of show them the activities, explain what it is, just a set of fun games that you're going to play together on the tablet or the computer, and that you're going to be practicing speech sounds as you play. The expectations there. So we just, again, want to let the student know that we're going to be playing these games, but we are going to have to stop throughout the activities, and we're going to be encouraged to try those speech sounds also, and then rate our own productions. And if you're providing therapy within a group setting, you want to make sure you're just giving those clear instructions on each student's role and how the therapy session will be designed. So are you going to just target one speech sound at a time and everybody's going to take a turn? Or are you going to have multiple tablets and the students will be playing different games on them? So just kind of lay out kind of the expectations ahead of time so your session goes smoothly. And number 3, use engaging activities. So you do have the option of combining live materials and virtual activities. So, you can use Kokolingo in conjunction with maybe if you wanted to do some type of physical activity with Kokolingo. So you could have some manipulatives that kind of go with the game, like a treasure chest and some little gold coins that the student earns as they play, or a little stuffed animal parrot that you're physically dressing up as they play the games. But that's kind of all up to you how you want to design the session, because that Kokolingo is an all-encompassing program for articulation therapy. And you want to just choose the activities that match the target sound and the level that the child is working on. How to use Kokolingo in teletherapy sessions very easily. So you will use your screen sharing feature. You'll just open your browser and go to kokolingo.com. From the dashboard in Kokolingo, you'll select or add a client. So you can either select a client that you've previously made a file for, or select add student. You'll choose your target sound. So here they're practicing the R, so R blends. And then like we kind of saw, you're just going to work your way through the islands, progressing from the sound in isolation. You can do some auditory discrimination activities all the way up to sentence level. Some benefits of using Kokolingo during the teletherapy activities: there's a variety of activities, so we're improving the engagement. You can track the data. You can cover a range of articulation goals. Very motivating, and reduces that time that we need for planning. We just pull up that website and we're good to go. And again, it can be just great homework for parents, and it can improve their carryover of goals. We can customize Kokolingo for individual needs. So we have that variety of activities, targeting the sounds in various levels. And we are going to have the ability here, like we see, to save data to their file. Here again are the islands that we are working through, and the data and analytics features here. So like we discussed, we can see the client's performance today, over the last 30 days, and per month. So you can use these for daily notes, and then looking at, when you're doing periodic reevaluations, it can be really helpful. We can also share this information with the educational team, and like we talked about earlier, just kind of adapt therapy plans according to the data that we see there that's been tracked. So Kokolingo really is just a way to have successful, engaging speech sessions within the schools. Very efficient, especially if you have a large caseload, faster documentation, and low to no prep required. And again, you can target more than just articulation. So if you want to get started, you will go to the Kokolingo homepage, www.kokolingo.com, click sign up for free. And then here you can either select parent sign up or therapist sign up. You can also use your Google or Facebook account to create your Kokolingo account. And then after you create a short, fill out a short form, then next time you go to Kokolingo, you'll just sign in again. And then now we are going to open up for any questions, if there are any, but did want to just let everybody know that, if you log on to the Kokolingo website, you can do a live chat anytime if you're ever stuck or have questions. And you can also look at our FAQs. We have an Instagram at Kokolingo app. And then we also have an email, support@kokolingo.com.